Right. Right. I decided to do this because of comments that people were making, and because I realised that there's an awful lot going on this week, and like with the eclipse being ruled by Mars in Cancer, it's like a really sensitive spot. So I was aware that a lot of people might be feeling that sensitivity, and because of where he's placed and being in Cancer, that really affects like our home and like the sensitivity where Mars is usually direct, and in Cancer it's really about our roots and our inner selves and our inner feelings. So the response I'm getting from my astro friends and from others that I've spoken to is like, so many people have turned around and just said, what's going on? And it's funny because that's the words that I use to like start my blogs with and start my posts with, is what's going on, and I just tell you what's going on in the sky, and it's very much that as above so below thing. So I just thought, right, okay, people are really feeling this, and this Mars in Cancer, it matters, and we've been experiencing that. It's been a transit for weeks now, but this eclipse energy has made it really potent for people. So obviously that was building over the week, but last night it was activated, and in the UK it was 5 a.m. this morning, and I actually got up thanks to Liz prompting me to remember that there was live streams. I set my alarm and got up and watched the eclipse happen in Western Australia, so that was quite something. You know, sometimes I've caught them after the event, but I haven't always caught them actually live while they're happening, so that was really exciting to actually see it happen. But the eclipse has had some challenging aspects, and it would be really nice if I could have brought up a chart and shown you, but what I'll do is after the event I'll post the screenshots that I took of the eclipse chart, and I've taken another one of Taurus season. Liz didn't get up. Okay, Liz, I don't blame you. I think I did share the time and date website, so I think they've posted like highlights of the event, so you can just watch the highlights if you like. That's probably the best thing to do. I must admit I didn't know if I'd actually wake up, but yeah, something shook me, and I just put the live stream on and watched it and just saw that ring of fire. It was quite magical, just to see it, and they did move to the NASA highlights, and they showed what other people were showing, and then just moved back to the moon, just passing over, and it is really magical. And my teacher has taught me that it's kind of like we're crossing this rope bridge over this canyon, and if it's aspecting parts of your chart, and this is the major thing, because astrologers talk a lot about eclipses and everybody gets very excited about them, but actually unless you've actually got strong Aries placements, or you're in the opposite signs, so the Aries, Cancer, Libra and Capricorn, you may not have felt it. So you might be wondering, what's all this about? And you know, it could be something or nothing. But if you've got planets in any of those signs, you may well have felt it, because it would have been close to those planets. And particularly if, like me, I've actually got my North Node exactly at 29 degrees of Aries, exactly where it hit. And I had a super mad busy day yesterday with lots of projects that I've been working on suddenly coming to fruition, suddenly getting the go-ahead, suddenly getting the answer that I've been waiting for literally yesterday. And I was like, oh wow, I knew astrology was real, but I didn't know it was that literal, that it literally just came to fruition on the day of the eclipse. And then again today, writing more articles and thinking, actually, hi Caroline, and thinking again, you know, how can I help people? So I thought, well, the best way to help is really just to come and chat to you and just try and explain it, and give you an opportunity that if I'm not explaining it in the way that makes sense to you, that you can like literally let me know in real time, and I can try and phrase it a different way, or find a different way to make sense for you as to the information you want to know. And just to set expectations, I can't interpret individual charts at the moment, because obviously that would be too much for me to be pulling up charts, and if I could have got access, unfortunately until I went live I didn't know if I'd be able to get my software up, and I'm so sorry that I can't. I'm going to have to learn how to do this better. I'm going to try tomorrow. I tried to do this on YouTube, and I have to wait 21 hours. So I may well have a go on YouTube tomorrow, and it might be that I can pull up my software there and get access to the charts, and that would really help me, because I can only hold so much in my brain at a time and remember all the aspects. So if I can get the charts up, I feel a lot more secure when I can see the placements. But from memory, I know that the eclipse had a Pluto square, and for me, when I was looking at this eclipse in advance, the way I was seeing it was that we had the Aries new moon at the beginning of the month, just right at the end of March, so approximately 4 weeks ago, and that was at 0 degree of Aries, and then this one at 29 degrees of Aries. So I see them almost as bookends, like one at the very beginning and one at the very end. And right in the middle of that month, what happened was Pluto. Pluto moved into Aquarius, and then Pluto in Aquarius is having a square, and it's an out of sign square, but it's still only 1 degree, and then today it goes exact. So it's like literally these tiny micro adjustments, but the energy is there, and when the energy is applying, that's when it's strongest. So yesterday was when that energy was really at its full strength. So that Pluto square is really bringing in that energy of the new Pluto in Aquarius, and I feel like it was an introduction, like almost a frame of like the cosmos saying to us, look at this, wake up people, this is going on. Here is the frame, this is what your theme is for the whole of the winter and the spring. We've been talking about Aries energy and Aquarian energy, and what that means, and starting a new era, and laying down the seeds for a new period of growth. And I feel like that's all about the Aquarian energy that's coming in. And I know people are talking about the AI and the robotics, but that's something that's already here. That's something that started while Pluto was in Capricorn. And personally, I feel that the whole point of Aquarius is it's about things that we can't even imagine, like really evolutionary leaps forward. That it could be that the AI and the robotics are just the tiny thin end of the wedge, the seeds that plant the actual ideas that will spring from that, where that's going to grow to. And for us as individuals, it's very much about the collective, about how we can group together and like almost be a counterbalance to all of this, to this world that's becoming so insecure and a little bit like things are moving so fast now. And really we need to form our online communities and find strength in that and find reassurance in that as well. And I'm certainly like really building up a really lovely online community that I find a lot of strength in and a lot of friendship in, that has really surprised me. And it's only been in the last year that I've met so many people, but I really feel like they're true friends. And I literally met one the day before the eclipse, and she just came straight in, gave me a big hug, and it was like we'd known each other forever. And I think that's a beautiful thing, that you can chat online and you really share your interests and your true self. And that's also what this Aries energy has been about. It's been about being our true selves, finding out who we really are, and not being afraid to hide that, because the mask that we can wear it's a burden. It's hard work, and we've got to remember to keep wearing it. And actually what this Aries energy and the Cancer in Mars energy has been doing is encouraging a lot of people to actually, for the first time, stand up for who they truly are and address conflict where their pattern might have been to run away from it. So if you've done that, if this energy has prompted you to actually address some conflict or some tension, especially if that's been happening at home or within your wider family, well done. And keep it up, because you've really made a start now, and you've really shown, who you really are. You've really found out that and that has to grow now. You've made that start, and you need to keep that growing, because once you get in touch with that, you can't let it go. And once we find our true authentic selves, and we're speaking from our inner values, and our values become aligned with our actions in the world, it's a space where the magic happens. It's it's hard to find the words sometimes, because that's what's been happening for me, and I feel like I've changed so much while I've been doing that, and it's brought me confidence, and it's brought so much for me. Oh, well done. That's good to hear, Caroline. It's hard to do, it is, but keep trying, because it's only when our values align with our true inner selves, and we're speaking from a place of authenticity, then we're really living in the energy of this moment. And as we form support amongst ourselves, amongst our communities, for each other doing that work, I think that's what this Aquarian energy and Pluto in Aquarius is going to be encouraging us to do. He's calling us to let go of the old patterns, the Capricorn patterns, where it was everybody for themselves, and it was about gaining power and resources, and people using them for capitalism and everything for themselves. Whereas now, I think it's more about how we can support each other, how we can find those communities and really support each other going forwards. So that's what's been going on with the eclipse, and I don't know if I mentioned it was a rare hybrid one. I think you've probably heard me banging on about that enough. I can't remember the exact dates now. I think it was 2013 was the last one, and the next one will be in 2031. So we've got a fair while before we'll see that again. But that's all about the curvature of the Earth, the curvature of the Moon, and how that makes the shadows that are being cast where the Moon blocks the Sun's light, and the shadows that it's casting. How long will this energy last? That's a hard one to say, because usually with an Aries new moon being ruled by Mars, and the fieriness, the double fire, and them both being masculine yang signs, you would say it'd be quick and fast. But the reason why we're less sure with this eclipse is because the node of the moon is actually in Taurus, and that's a slower, calmer energy ruled by Venus, and she's yin and receptive energy. And some astrologers, so I'm reading around and seeing what all the opinions are. At first I thought it was quick fire, would see quick results, quick responses, and then it would move on, so that you might see the energy for 3 or 4 weeks and that would be it. But others are saying that with the nodes changing, because this is the first node in Aries that we've seen, because the nodal axis has been in Taurus and Scorpio, so it's now changing to Aries and Libra. And because this is the first, it may well be that this is coming in for 2 years, because of that node being in Taurus. So, and it was at 4 degrees. So I think it's going to be time will tell. Does the warrior Marsi energy win? And it's over in a flash. I've been watching the news, because unfortunately there was that stampede, because one of my predictions was we're going to see a lack of air in some way. So it's really sad when you see things like that. I didn't know if it would be airborne viruses or a lack of air in some sense with that Pluto square. So it was sad that it transpired in that stampede. And also the what's the word I'm seeking? The Sudan, the rush of the increase in testosterone, with the two Mars masculine yang energies, them coming together, created. But hopefully that Sudan escalation may be the bit that is short and a flare up, and then it settles down. So I'm hoping that's the flare up and settling down. But it may well be that this the nodal energy, because the node was in Taurus, and the sun and moon were actually in Aries. So you don't often see it where they're straddling the signs like that. I think it's going to be a time will tell, like astrologers are split on it. So we're going to see. Is my best answer. I don't have the experience myself, having only qualified last year. And it being a rare one as well, it's like, yeah, we can look back to like 2014, 2013 when the last one was, and see what happened for you then. But obviously the nodes would have been at different places. It might not have had the same straddling, you know, that same straddling effect. Again, if I had my software, I could look at that and try and give you an answer based on that. But I can't. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move on to talking about Taurus season, because, and really Taurus season and the Mercury retrograde combine in a way, because in Taurus season we calm down. So I'm going to try and speak a little bit slower, because our lovely Venus rules this season, and she's receptive energy. If you think of the Empress card in tarot, where she's luxuriating back on her velvet cushions, and she's in the lush forest behind her, and the water's flowing, and everything's about your senses. So my advice is, like, ground yourself with the earth and take note of your environment. Try and notice little things about your environment that you've never seen before, because we've had all this fiery energy, and we really need to tune into the planetary energies, because what they do is they protect us in a lot of ways. And we've got our capitalist, modern, fast-paced world isn't designed to protect our mental health, to protect our physical health. It's all about the money. And actually, if we are going to take control of our self-care, these planetary rhythms really teach us everything we need to know. And tuning into this cycle of the zodiac and the planets kind of teaches us, okay, you have this burst of activity, and then you move back and you reflect and you just rest a little bit and you absorb it. And that's where we are now. So the sun and the moon have both moved into Taurus, and there's some unexpected energy there, because they're meeting with Uranus, and they're meeting with the Mercury, who tomorrow will turn retrograde. So we're already in the shadow of his Mercury retrograde energy, which is why I'm so relieved that you can actually see and hear me, because I was half expecting that there was going to be a problem and I'd have to cancel. But when I was seeing the comments and the Mars in Cancer energy, I just thought, no, I'm going to do this now, because I think combined with the Mercury retrograde and the Mars in Cancer and the energy from the eclipse, it's a lot. And I think a lot of people can be really going through some really heavy stuff now. And it's important to know that this is the time to slow down, and look after yourself. And even if, you know, you've got work commitments and you've got commitments with your family and your children and school and, you know, whatever else is going on, even if you can make micro adjustments, you know, carve out a couple of minutes for yourself, even sitting in your car for a couple of minutes before you leave it and just look at the environment of your car park. Maybe there's a tree that you haven't noticed before, and just visualize that tree. And then when you're at work and you go to the loo or something, you know, I don't know, but whenever you can snatch a minute or two for yourself, visualize that tree again and just breathe it in, you know, and the greenness and the lushness as they're growing, because Venus is giving us all that abundance and generosity, and, you know, everything that's coming through while she's just enjoying just the sheer beingness of life, you know, and that statement that we're human beings, not human doings. And sometimes it's enough for us just to be. So any way that you can connect with nature, any way that you can connect with Mother Earth, take a pebble in your pocket, you know, a crystal, whatever makes sense to you. If it's water, if you take a bath instead of a shower, you know, whatever resonates with you, make time for it this month, because I think that's going to be important, and it's going to help your healing and help you through this time, because I think a lot of people are under so much stress, especially with the financial costs going up and everything else that's happening. It can be a lot. And as Mercury goes retrograde, we can expect some delays, some postponements, some cancellations. That can be quite normal. We can get technological delays and difficulties. I had it trying to set this up. Everything I'd planned to do didn't work. I had to download a couple of different streaming things. My webcam hasn't worked. But I kind of had backups in mind. So yeah, we're on the laptop camera. The microphone, I don't know if it's actually working or not. We might be on the microphone, the laptop microphone. But thankfully, I had 3 or 4 backups in mind. And obviously my charts haven't worked. But I expected it. So I didn't allow myself to get stressed as I was preparing, although I felt some pressure. I allowed myself 2 hours to get set up, and it took the whole 2 hours. I literally didn't get any tea. I thought I'd get set up, might take an hour, and then I'd have some tea, and then I'd be ready. But no, it took the whole 2 hours, and I was literally, and I still could have carried on, but I set it so that it would go live dead on 7 so that I couldn't bottle out of it, because I knew if I overthought doing it, it might not happen. So with Mercury retrograde, that can be the straw that breaks the camel's back. You know, it can easily start to feel personal. Oh, thank you. The sound is okay. I'm so glad. I hope that from the comments, they seem to be relevant to what I'm saying. So I appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, it can start to feel personal. You know, when you're trying to do something and everything you try doesn't work or isn't going right, it can start to think, oh, what am I doing wrong? You know, what's wrong with me? Why? You know, so the main thing to say is don't take it personal. And also, Mercury's a trickster. He has the last laugh. So if you can laugh with him, you know, just say, oh, Mercury, I see you. He likes to be seen. Or that's the way I think anyway. And that way he may work with us. Just ask him to help you. He likes us to communicate with him, I think. And, you know, that way he may well support you when it really matters. Like I say, he's supported me when it really mattered that I'm here and I'm talking to you and you can hear me. But he still played a few tricks on me, which I expected. So, you know, in that sense, he's done what he needed to do. You know, I've done what I needed to do. And if you can laugh along with him, it just takes that personal pressure out of it. And I think that helps us mentally as well, just to like, okay, I know what's going on. And I think Mercury gets a bad rap when everybody blames everything on Mercury retrograde, because sometimes it is just that we need to know to allow extra time in this time. We need to know to plan a little bit more than we would usually. And we need to know to check the fine print, to maybe avoid signing contracts if you can. I signed a contract for some roof work, and I did avoid signing it in Mercury retrograde, but I had no choice but to sign it in the shadow. So I did know that there would be delays and problems, and so there were, you know. But the work still got done, which is the main thing. But I knew that there would be, and that's the kind of thing to expect, you know, that if you can avoid it, sometimes it's unavoidable. And if it's unavoidable, just know that you probably are going to expect some hiccups, and go into it with your eyes open from that point of view. And if you accept that, then you're prepared. And that's really the point of this conversation. So if you've got any questions, I think we're getting close to our time. If anybody's got any questions, I'm happy to answer them about Taurus season, about the eclipse, about Mercury retrograding. You seem happy, which is great. I'm so sorry I couldn't show you charts, but I will post them in Facebook afterwards. And I'll answer follow-up questions if you have questions after this finishes. recommend mindfulness. I'm obviously a big advocate for mindfulness, and I think that's really great to support us through this time, because mindfulness doesn't need a specific, oh, something's low. Oh, it just says you might get a better quality stream, but I don't know how to change it. Oops, am I back? I don't know what happened there. Something's low, but I think we've only got a minute or two left, so I don't want to try and change it and lose you. But yeah, I've got loads of mindfulness videos on my YouTube, and YouTube has so many resources for mindfulness videos. I've literally got ones that start at 1 minute and then 3 minutes. I've got ones that you can do while you're walking, ones where you can send out loving kindness to others. So if somebody's annoying you, you can send out mindfulness to others. Caroline's asking, how can I don't want to like challenge your privacy, but how can one part of your life be so magical and great and another part be so challenging and difficult? In your personal chart, there's different houses, and one part of your life will be in one part. So I would say that would be your creative life, and your social life would be in possibly your 11th house, and your creative life is in your 5th house, and then your work life is going to be in your 6th house. So they're all going to be in different places, and they're all going to have different aspects to the planets. So I would say that one part of your life is getting those challenging aspects from the planets, and the other parts that are going so well are getting lovely, soft, really nice magical aspects. So that's why I would imagine that one's going so well and the other's going so challenging for you. But I really hope that changes as the planets move. Jupiter will be moving soon into Taurus to join the others. I think I spoke briefly about Uranus, and need to remember to expect the unexpected, and that's going to be a big aspect coming up later, is when Jupiter meets Uranus. That's going to really expand it, and that's going to be an exciting one. I don't know that happens until 2024. Yeah, Jupiter enters Taurus on May the 16th, but it'll be a while until he gets to Uranus. But yeah, remember with Uranus, that can be very unexpected energy. So as the Sun and Moon are approaching Uranus, be prepared for the unexpected. And that's also Aquarian energy. So this air energy is coming in. That's definitely something that we're seeing. So I'm certainly open to questions. We're just a tiny bit over time. So if everybody's happy, we'll wrap up. But if you've got any questions, feel free to post them afterwards and I'll share the charts. But thank you so much for your lovely comments, and thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad to have my first one done, and so glad to see familiar names joining me. I really appreciate you all. Thank you. Love you all. Bye bye.